All right.
You ready? Okay, we're going to get started. I'd like to welcome everybody here for the Iron County Commission meeting, Monday, the 11th day of December 2023. And we'd like to excuse Commissioner Cousins. He's out of town, and I will make a motion to put in Mike Blake for Commissioner Pro Temp.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I lost the rock, paper, scissors. That's what that boils down to. Good morning. Now that I'm running the meeting, I guess. Welcome. This morning we'd like to start out, excuse me, with a pledge of allegiance and a prayer. I've asked Dr. David Blodgett if he would lead us in prayer this morning. Then Kurt Allred, if you'd lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, it would be great. Thank you.
Father in heaven, we're grateful to meet this day. Grateful for the system of government we live under, and for the opportunity to be part of the process. And we're grateful for this time of year where we acknowledge and look forward to celebrating the birth of thy Son and for all that he's done for us in our lives. We're grateful for the freedoms we enjoy in this country, and grateful to acknowledge thy hand in our lives and express gratitude unto thee for the many blessings that we enjoy. We ask that this meeting might be done in accordance with thy will and thy purposes, and we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
I'll give you a motion.
What are our minutes?
I've got it.
Okay.
I would move for approval on the minutes 12/05, 2023 and 11/13, 2023.
There was a third one as well.
Oh, there is a third?
It's the
like a-
27th.
November 27th.
Okay, November 27th.
Okay, John. I wasn't here the November 27th meeting.
Oh, so can we approve those?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Okay.
You're approving them as to form, not necessarily swearing to their accuracy.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Second that motion. All in favor?
Okay. Aye.
Aye.
And to be clear, I'll probably correct the signature line as well after you sign,
Great.
and
Okay.
I'll put Chair Pro Tem.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I will also approve the claims for payments from November 27th, 2023 to December 10th, 2023.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The claims for payment are approved. All right, let's move on to our departmental reports this morning. First up, Terry Palmer.
Could we change that just so that
yes.
Dr. Blodgett could?
Sorry. Dr. Blodgett's in a
Sorry,
time
Terry.
crunch this morning.
He was so.
Fairly legible, Terry. You're going to have to speak to it.
Sorry to bump up a little bit,
That's
but I
okay.
appreciate the
That's
opportunity to do that. I don't know how I get myself into these kind of scheduling conflicts, but it's really a pleasure to be here with you and see you again. Merry Christmas. And, the health department continues to cook along. We're in the post-COVID malaise that everybody else seems to be in, but and the COVID cliff looms large for us. It seems likely that we'll have lower funding after COVID than before COVID, if that seems possible. But just the way things are set up, our magazine will be hitting mailboxes in the next day or two, so I brought you a copy of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
7th Best in State Award for
Oh, congratulations.
it allows us to do some things we just can't do in any other way. Some messages that are tailored directly for the people in our community that hit everybody's mailbox. Magazines have interesting statistics around them. They say that if you can get somebody to pick up a magazine and read it, they're 60% more likely to act on it than if they just hear it in some other format. And so it's actually, for the bang for the buck, it's the cheapest in per eyeball that we think we get, and it's also pretty effective at what we do. So we had a pretty good run this year. We did a specific issue devoted issue. That doesn't make a lot of sense. On sleep. So I hope everybody saw that one. They're getting better sleep these days. Really, sleep is pretty foundational to health, and we really wanted to highlight that one. This one has an emphasis on aging well through the lifespan, focus on diabetes. We're seeing a dramatic increase in diabetes. Diabetes now is 25% of the healthcare dollar. Probably in the next 5 or 10 years, it'll be 50% of the healthcare dollar. It is the big crisis in medicine right now. And somewhere around 10% of the population has diabetes, but 30% of the population has pre-diabetes, launching into diabetes. And if you want to put it on a ranking scale of the things that you need to worry about in health, it's diabetes going forward. We're eating ourselves to death as a society, and so we focused on that. We had last month was Diabetes Awareness Month, and we gave free A1Cs to try and help people identify where they were in diabetes and things like that. But really want to highlight diabetes as something that we're interested in and worried about going forward. We've had our first flu death of the year. Flu last year killed more people than COVID, and it will do so now from now on. COVID got the spotlight, but flu continues to do its work. And so we'll track COVID like we do flu from now on, just hospitalizations. And that's probably how we should have been doing it. Unfortunately, the underlying factor of that is we're seeing a drop in immunization. Immunization hesitancy has increased, and so the number of kids that are applying for exemptions and not getting vaccinated, and the vaccination rates across the board are down, flu shot rates, all of that. So we have to figure out how to re-engender some trust in public health after some bad national policies dinged it pretty good. And so when you look at the interventions that have done more to increase life expectancy and improve health and wellness in the history of the world, immunizations takes the top bill, right? You just maybe water quality improvement, and then immunizations. And it's an effective, safe way to deal with some very nasty diseases. Let me give you an example. Measles in the United States, there were about 1 million cases a year before the vaccine came out, with 5,000 deaths in kids under the age of 14 every year. So when you look at the number of deaths under the age of 14 from COVID, when we shut down the schools and wouldn't let kids talk to each other and all that stuff, was probably about maybe 150. They can't really find them. So we've lost track of just what immunizations have done in the history of our country, and then I've become this controversial figure about it, right? I talk about it and everybody gets mad at me. So it's weird. It's a weird time for me.
Can't win for losing.
We had an outbreak of Legionella in a pool in Iron County. Thought you might be interested to hear about that. So Legionella is this waterborne infection that impacts mostly people that are elderly and immune compromised. So they discovered it at a Legionnaires conference with all these guys over 70. There were World War II vets, and 10 or 15 of them passed away. So they call it Legionnaire's disease, but it's rare. But when it crops up, we take notice of it, right? So we tracked it back, found that a local hotel hadn't they'd fired their pool company, and they weren't taking care of their pool, and so they grew out all kinds of interesting stuff out of their pool. So it's kind of an illustration of, sometimes it matters. Some of these things we do in public health that makes a difference. And so these two people, one of them is in the hospital for almost 6 months, and I think there'll probably be a lawsuit. And a lot of people don't realize that some of the regulations we are involved in, they're designed to protect the people providing services just as much as they are the people that they serve. And so we've been happy to work with them and get them back up to where they need to be, but there's a lot of value there. Mention the fact we're probably going to be flat funded or down in our funding after COVID, but our budget request to the commission will be flat funded from last year on a per head basis. So that's how it's all assessed, and so we're trying to do our part to be good citizens, and we won't. We'll figure out how to make things work. We're seeing a slowdown in building, like everybody else is. So we improved septic permits. We had record-breaking septic permits the last 2 years, but this year they're down probably 30%. I think that'll be even more as we go. So, as you're looking for indicators of where we're at economically, I think that's something to pay attention to. We've changed our staffing patterns for the districts. So we cover the 5 counties: Beaver, Kane, Garfield, Washington, Iron counties. And so what we've done is we've pulled most of our staff out of Beaver and Garfield counties and moved that to Iron County. So what that does is it allows us to have better coverage in our Iron County staff, but also cover those other communities. So we travel them. It's more efficient, and I think it's a better way to go. And so, for example, we have clinics 1 day a week for WIC in those communities, but the WIC staff is here in Cedar. So we went to appointments in order to accommodate that, and so I think it's more flexible for the people that come to see us and for what we offer there. So I want to comment about that. The multi-county jurisdiction, I think, really continues to work well, where we all pool our resources, Iron and Washington and all those counties, to allow us to offer services in a way that's better than if we were just individual counties. So I appreciate the opportunity to be part of what Iron County is doing and so many great things, and to have the opportunity to be a health officer here. I'm happy to answer any questions you have for me.
I do have a question, actually.
Yeah.
Do we know? do we know what the predominant flu strain is this year, and does the flu shot cover that one?
Yeah. So we haven't really hit the upsurge yet. We have seen some, and it's mostly been H3N2 this year, which is the little bit older strain than the H1N1 that came around. But I don't know if that's going to win the battle or not. This is one of the weird mysteries of my job. So do the strains of flu like fight it out before the season, decide which one's dominant? It's really weird to me because only one of them dominates every year. And then when COVID came out, we didn't see any flu. I don't understand that part of my job. So it's a very astute question, because we look to see which of those strains it is, and that kind of gives us an indication of
We changed
severity.
during the year those vaccinations.
Yes. So every year there's a big scientific consensus committee that gets together and decides which strain to put in. So far, the indications are that it will do just fine this year. But to get a full analysis of that, we look back over the season, and sometimes they miss, and it's only 20 or 30% effective, and sometimes they get really do a really good job, and it's 70 or 80% effective. But always getting a flu shot's better than not, because it keeps you from kicking over into that hyper response that was a big part of what COVID was all about. And it's the same for flu, upper respiratory tract infections. That's what they do. So we continue to encourage flu shots every year. And
When are those suggested to take those? Now, right?
Yeah. So these are great questions. So we used to always say, and we still say, it's probably better to get it late October, early November, maybe even as late as now, because it kicks in 2 weeks after you get it. But because you start seeing flu shots show up in Walgreens in June,
Yeah.
for us to compete, we've moved our shootouts. We call them earlier and earlier in the year, and people just get them earlier and earlier. The evidence is that the immunity wanes a little bit over the course of the year. So if you wait a little bit closer to cold and flu season, you'll do better with it. But people are impatient.
So I do have another question.
Yeah.
So bringing those other people from those other counties into your office, so do you have room for all of that?
Yeah, well,
How does that work?
in a lot of ways it's time, right? And so, yes, so we our facility here is, we built it a little bigger than we needed, so we do have some
You
extra
have some room.
space. Yeah,
I bet
it's
that
been good
is
for us. And
advantageous to.
yeah, well, it's helped us be more consistent in our staffing for Iron County particularly. So we've got, full-time staff here all the time, which has been much better. We were closing clinic days and things like that. So I didn't know if you'd heard about that or were worried about it. I just wanted to tell you I think we've fixed the problem. It's really hard for us to compete for nurses too.
Yeah.
The hospital system, you'll hear them complain about how much more they're having to pay their nurses, but then when you settle that down to our level, it breaks our pay scale. So we've really struggled. So
I get that.
So you talked about maybe like the interview days and appointments for WIC and other places. Have you been able to not neglect some of the smaller counties, smaller than us?
right, I think we're doing even a better job there too, because we've been able to be more consistent and actually. So when you have somebody in Beaver and they take a day off, then they're closed, right? So then you've missed a whole week or two, right? But this way, because we have 3 staff here in Cedar, we can cover those counties much better. So
You just have them call the Cedar office when calls come in?
Appointments.
right, we do, and we have clerks in those counties too. We just don't have the nursing staff to do the nursing visits.
So the lights are on, somebody's there.
There's somebody there, but not. Yeah, so we have WIC days and immunization days and things like that. People,
Cool.
we publish them and make sure people.
That's
know
a
where to go.
clever solution.
You try to be a little innovative when as things get more expensive and you have fewer people, you have to make it work better, which is what we all do, right? Do more with less. So
Yep.
We appreciate that too.
yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you
you.
again for the opportunity to be here, but also to work with you. It's a wonderful
Yeah.
commission and great people here at the county. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Oh,
Blodgett.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I
Travel
apologize.
safe.
I apologize if I have to duck out, but it's sure nice. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Okay, that's all the time we had.
The paper's on your desk. If you got questions, you got my number. Is that good enough, John?
I'm not in charge here.
Well, you were. You said I could do that. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Hopefully you got my right paper up there. We'll go over that first page. So far this year, up to December 1st, 2023, we've issued 489 permits to date, compared to last year at 645. But I see a shrug and cringe. Last year was an exceptional year. You'll hear everybody tell you that. I'm right on line for the past 5 years before that.
Oh, perfect.
In fact, I might be just a touch ahead of it before the end of the year. So we are on line for the previous 4 or 5 years before that. Yes, last year was exceptional. We were way busy, but with the interest rates and everything staying down, prices staying down, we were way busy last year. So we are projected, a couple solar farms are projected to start next year, which will bring some stuff back in to help us out there. We have completed 528 project reviews so far this year, and we've completed over 3,492 inspections this year. So with that number, we're still running a lot. And that's just stops. That's not each individual inspections. That's 3,500 stops at 3,500 different job sites. So if I have my 4 ways, my final inspections, I've got 4 to 5 more inspections per each one of those stops. So we've stayed busy out in the field with those number of permits. The permits issued at just under 500 so far. We're staying busy with that. Code enforcement, we've kept Joe running. We've got 61 7-day notices out so far. So this year he sent out 61 7-day notices, meaning they've got 7 days to respond to how they're going to take action to clean up their property. We have 19 30-day certification notices, meaning that they've got 30 days to come up with a plan now to get it done. We don't have the number of that have been taken to court. Dave from the attorney's office has been fabulous. We hit that 30-day mark. He takes it to court. Joe gets been in on 2 of them, 3 of them. So Dave keeps him updated where he's at, but Dave has been fabulous to help. We get to that point and they go right into court to start the process where we're going to go, citations and stuff with it. So we're staying busy there. We see a lot come and go, so we're working with that. Budget overall, we're looking good on budget so far. Yeah, there's a couple line items that are off, overbalanced because of with the economy and what's happened. But my bottom line, we're still good there for all the money that was allocated and approved last year. So we haven't gone over there. We know we got some changes that's going to happen there. Planning, you can look at your agenda where we're at today with what Reed's bringing in. Planning is way busy still. A lot of people looking at developing and stuff. And I know one of your items on the agenda later is going to have some impact of what happens. So development hasn't stopped yet. We've still got a lot of people looking and going from there. Building maintenance, we're keeping Thane busy. We got the 2 furnaces out to the Borough Community Center done with the new electrical service, so we're now safe out there as far as that. Less potential of burning it down.
And air conditioning also.
Air conditioning, new furnaces, heat pump sources, awesome. A lot more efficient with what we've done there. So, yeah, they've got air conditioning. They can turn off, probably talking with the mechanical contractor, we can probably turn off the little wall heaters out front and save money on that with the new furnaces and just leave the doors open from the gym area, recreation area to keep that front area heated up. So hopefully we can see a change on where we put a little bit of money into the heat. So that was a big improvement there. We've got RFPs. Well, we did an RFQ for qualifications for cleaning services. We had 5 companies submit. We had RFP submitted by 2 companies. One of them a third one backed out the last day that it was due before the walkthrough because of staffing issues with their supervisors. One will be out the first half of the year, the other out the second half of the year with babies. So they didn't want to put in this year and have something happen. So we have 2 that are on the agenda for later to talk about what we want to do there. And as we figured, they did go up about where we figured. So, but that's something we can talk about and how we want to handle that.
Okay.
We've got bids to repair the leaking roofs at the concession stand restroom building at the fairgrounds. Talked to Tiger Friday. He's hoping to start that before Christmas if he gets a couple projects done. So hopefully that will be taken care of on the roofing there at the fairgrounds so we can get that taken care of and then start the sheetrock, get that fixed for summer activities up there. And then I've also got Tiger giving us some design ideas and stuff for the big building as to improve the looks on that. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we can get some design ideas back on that one.
And the leakage. Right?
Yeah, the leakage on the roof and then some improvements on the facelift for that one. Yeah. So we're working with that one. We finished the stairways on both outside, north and south side here. I don't know if you looked a lot
Beautiful.
There. They turned out, it was a long process to get the 2 sides finished, but we got it done.
How long has it been since we've been trying to get that done?
4
or 5 years.
6 years, I think.
6 years.
So we finally got the front one done 6 months ago. We got a contract to do the other 2. He was so busy, he finally got them done a week and a half ago, and they turned out good. We do have a warranty on that one. How that handles, we don't know, but we'll see how the winter does on them. If we get a winter, we'll see how that handles. But the looks on it, the liability, I think we've taken a lot of liability off with improving those steps and walkways around there.
Yeah.
The crime lab has, with their new equipment, they needed lighting, some new lighting changes done. We got that taken care of for them. We've also got APMP and UHP that we will meeting with Wayne Christensen with the state of Utah, DCFM, DFCM, Department of Facility DFCM, to go over a bid and questions on remodel for the Highway Patrol and APMP. APMP needs more offices because they've got more officers coming in. And then UHP moved the drug task force out. They all want to remodel their conference room and put more offices in there and a different conference room layout for the highway patrol. So we're going to meet with Wayne Christensen, I think, this afternoon on that to go over that.
What about the outdoor? They needed that bigger parking lot to do their testing. Did they talk to you about that?
No, they have not.
So that back parking lot, they're wanting to go into that other area to the north,
To the north.
and they may want a building
Okay.
also, some kind of a storage building, and
And
so
is
we need
this-
to talk to them about that and see if
This
that
UHP or driver's license that wants that for the driving test. Driver's license. Yeah. I haven't heard anything there on that one, but we can look into that and we'll talk to Wayne while we're doing that today too. I'll make a note to see what we've got.
Yeah, because they've been hitting us up about.
Yeah, so the state changed the the test basically for CDLs, and so the current CDL testing pad isn't big enough.
Okay.
And so if we don't expand it, people are going to have to go
other places.
out
I
of
don't
Cedar
know
City
where.
to do CDL testing.
Okay. Are we talking expanding it into the back of the
the
jail
north.
property, to the north property?
Yes. To
So that's our property still to the north.
Yes.
So we just
Yes.
okay.
we'll have to move the fence and.
Yeah, and just close it off
But
the other
they
way.
also talked about a building for.
Yeah, they've talked about a need for some storage too.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I didn't. I was not aware of that, and Thane has not said.
They've talked, but we haven't heard. There hasn't been anything official. Nobody's made any requests or.
Yeah, but that's probably a conversation that we need to be having.
Okay. Well, today if we get it set up, and I think it was set up with Wayne for this afternoon, so that'd be a good time to bring that up, so we can throw all three of them under one idea to start, so they can start looking at money and what they need to do. Because I'm assuming that is their project. We do it, but they pay for it in the end, because that's how most of these are done. Is we oversee the remodel, and then they pay the bill on it with that remodel work.
Terry, how much room does Wayne feel like he needs? I ask because another good project that was completed was the ejector pumps on this building, making the basement.
Well, Wayne doesn't need it. The highway patrol, they already have the space because they've moved
They just need
drug
more.
task force. They just want to do a remodel
Yeah.
to give one or two more offices in there.
All I'm saying is,
For their
it'd be
guys.
good to have a conversation with Wayne about the basement of this building,
Okay.
because I think it would be better to have it utilized than not. It would make a great horror, like haunted house right now. But
could-
but because Thane got on it and got those ejector pumps fixed,
Yeah,
then I think
We can use that
that
basement,
basement
now.
can now be used.
But, and we have talked about that as to what we want to do there. I know we had one from Representative.
Lipco, yeah,
Yeah.
that
yeah, from
may
the
need.
state
So
wanted, and then he ended up going to Cedar, so he decided he didn't want to be over to Parowan anyway. But there may be other offices.
But if
or
Highway
we could
Patrol or
lease
somebody
out.
wants to leverage something in Parowan, I mean, I'm just saying,
no, I like that.
it'd be
It's-
nice to kind of start having that conversation.
Yeah, start that. So no, I'm okay with that. So I'll make a note here to talk to him today when we get a hold of him this afternoon, so I don't forget. And then, like we talked about before, the bid for the parking lot at the Justice Center has been awarded. We have signed contracts and paid 40% to Phil Schmidt for buying and purchasing material before it goes up.
Got the
So-
bid on that.
Yeah, Phil Schmidt got the bid. We had two contractors bid. When it closed, there was only two that submitted bids on it. We had five that we'd talked to and had got information from us. But we had the two that bid, and the difference in the price was about $15,000, I think, right in there. So Phil got the awarded on
How
that.
long has that been in the works?
Let me make some more notes here. No, that's been in the works for how long have you been here?
Well, I think it was before
It
me.
was-
It was early on in my commission career,
Yes.
and I've been here 7 years. so
We bought the building in 2007, remodeled the building in 2007. We moved in there May of 2007, and we started looking at the parking lot in 2008,
So there you
right
go.
around there. We knew it needed it,
Yeah.
but at the time we'd maxed out everything we could do, just remodeling that to get in there. So it's been on the project list for a long time.
Yeah.
So we finally got that field set pending weather. March, April, we'll get that one started.
We kind of threw everything we had left from other projects
Yes.
into that one,
Yeah,
didn't we?
we did. And that's why I think
It
we can
really
make it
needs
work.
to be done.
Some of it we're going to have to, when you look at your budget today to do that, there's going to be some things that's happened that we'll have to redo a little bit with things. But I think we can still make it work for where we're at. The second page is just more of the layout for the numbers. You'll see, I've told you already that we're down 126 building permits over last year for it. But yes, things are slowing down, but our numbers are still where I'm at the 5 previous years. For me, it's not it is a concern, but it's not as big as I would think just yet. If I was to drop down more, then I would worry. But where we're holding for the previous 5 years before that, I think we're okay. Yeah, numbers are down, but it says we've got 2 or 3 solar farms that will help bring. Then we're going to be running way behind these numbers again, trying to keep up, even if we stay at these numbers for the next year or two.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot of stuff projected there. Any questions? Anything else we need to look at or work on?
Nope. Sounds good. Terry, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got to put my glasses on. I'm glad Rich is on top of it because I got to look to see who's next. Rich Wilson, our engineer.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Several things. Terry has mentioned them. I appreciate the support of the other departments and staff. They also support me and back and forth with building department and road department and the attorney's office. This last quarter, we finished the access study for the Belt Route, which is a future project, but we wanted to know what the impacts would be of roadways that would need to either cross or enter into the Belt Route, and we wanted to be prepared for that. When development came in, we could address those issues with them if they were building along the Belt Route. We've also been obtaining some property along the Belt Route. Even though it's not projected to begin building, we want to be prepared to purchase those and also to let owners know that they're on the Belt Route. That's quite interesting. Each time I contact someone, they didn't know they were on the Belt Route, and it's just an informational thing. It's something that if it's not pressing in your wheelhouse of what's going on in your life, you may not have noticed that about 5 or 6 years ago a Belt Route was approved, and it was approved out through properties to the west and north of this Cedar Valley. So we have that study. It's been completed by Kimley Horn, and it turned out really, really nice. So we have a really good idea of what the major cost roads are going to need to look like. We worked, the engineering department worked with building department to create an ordinance for Quichapa, and that was passed so that we have a better understanding of how to assist people in their building out there so that they aren't liable to be flooded if the Quichapa Lake expands due to springtime or monsoonal flooding. Terry mentioned the parking lot. Phil got the bid. The engineering department helped with ascertaining what needed to be done to make a parking lot that would last for 30 years, which it's lasted for 30 years. We just don't want it to sink this time. FEMA came, as did the Department of Emergency Management for Utah, a few weeks ago, about a month ago, and discussed the new rate maps and what they're doing there. If you're not aware, the rate maps are going to be published in 2028 to 2030, and we wanted to look at the communities. And FEMA has taken a new approach of recognizing that just because there's a line on a map doesn't mean that some people are in and out of in the flood area and others aren't. If you're 50 feet from that line, you probably should be considered at risk. And so nationally they have taken that approach, and it's now based on a different criteria of distance from the source of flooding. Elevations are very important. And so when we met with FEMA, they were looking at our ordinances, and one of the things that we don't have is a grading permit. Every time you change the grade of a property that is affected by floodwaters, you affect the area around you as well as your own property. And in order to stay in, we're partners with FEMA, and in other words, Iron County is has the opportunity, the residents of Iron County have an opportunity to buy flood insurance because Iron County years ago joined an agreement with FEMA to have ordinances that would look at flood potential, outside flood potential. And so we are now talking in the building department and the zoning department about a grading permit so that we can keep on top of what changes are being affected when a project goes forward near a flood source. Our budget is under budget this year. We're doing fine. Part of the reason for that is because we still have a dump truck on order. We have been waiting and waiting and waiting, and that is still a cause of this supply chain shortages. I talked to the salesman, and they're hoping that by August they'll be able to kick a truck free to us. We did a major investment in a truck that the road department gave us, which we're grateful for, which we were able to rebuild the engine and put that on the road. That's been a big help, but it's a new engine in an older truck, and so it still continues to have those issues with other components of that truck needing to be looked at from time to time. In the last month, Cedar City became a co-sponsor on our Lower Coal Creek study for NRCS, and that project is moving forward to feasibility and design. We had an overall, the study showed what needed to be done, which wasn't a surprise to anyone who's seen any of the former studies. But in this phase, we will be looking at what feasibility means is that when a project costs reach a certain point, the question is benefit. And so it has to have a positive benefit ratio. And so the study is going to look at those properties that and the valley that will be benefited by having a flood control on Lower Coal Creek, and make sure that it is a plus number, not a flat line or less than plus. And what that means is they look at the costs of the project versus the protection provided in case if there was a flood and nothing was done. How many properties and how many millions of dollars in property loss would there be? And it's a bit of a skewed number, as you know, and probably maybe people don't know, because they only look at the basements. We're not in an area, because in order to look at the first floor, we'd have to have water that would be all the way to the ceiling of a first floor, which would be nigh into impossible in this valley. And so the costs are not associated with upper floors. Their costs are only with basements. And so it's a bit of a number that really frustrates people, because if you've ever had a flooded basement, you want to know why you didn't qualify for federal aid. But so in creating a better solution on Lower Coal Creek, we will pull back the risk to those properties that might be affected by overtopping the banks of the Coal Creek. I received just last Friday from Connor Myers. He works for Celeste Malloy, and Iron Springs Road, we are on their top list. The problem right now is the feds haven't got a budget. So hopefully in 2024, when the budget comes out, we'll know what what we'll be receiving to improve Iron Springs Road. But that was good news, receiving both a phone call from Connor and an email letting us know that we had not been forgotten. It was Congress's impasse on the budget that's holding up, telling us exactly what the amount will be. Are there any questions?
Not for me.
Good.
Good. Thanks, Richard.
Thanks. Bruce.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Like everybody else, Merry Christmas. We're excited to move into the end of this year. First, I set a paper on there. So the first one is landfill. We lost 2 employees in the last couple of weeks, but we're interviewing one tomorrow for the Perwin position. Our budget's in pretty good shape. Like Terry, there's a few items that are over, but total we're in good shape. Our landfill inspection, we got a new regulator, and she's good. We were really good. There was she found a couple of issues, but no big deal, and everything went well. So we're excited that we actually got a real thinker, I guess, if that makes sense. We're working on changing some of the routes. Some of the routes already had changed, but then with the loss of these 2 people, we had to go back. We're getting quite a bit of overtime right now, but we're maintaining. Hopefully that after tomorrow, these guys can start pretty fast, and then the other job closes the end of this week. So hopefully we can get somebody hired and trained quickly for the landfill. Our well out there, we've had a well that was put in by the iron mines probably sometime in the 40s, and it's just kind of dying. There's only 6 feet of water to pull from. The pump is at like 60 feet, and the water's at 69 feet. And the dirt is at 69 feet. So we're probably just hooked, that since the Water Conservancy District came through, we'll probably just hook onto their water, but we're working on that still. They've got the hookup to us. We just haven't had time we'll have to dig through the parking lot and hook it to the buildings. And that's the number one. And what do we do with our water rights? We're still working that out with the Conservancy District. Any questions on land? Oh, so like Rich as well, we're trucks are still out. We're still waiting on trucks. 2 landfill trucks one won't be here till probably April next year, and the other one we're hoping at the end of this month, 1st of next, so that we could still put it on this year's budget. That was a collection trucks. In the road department, we're waiting on 2 dump trucks still, and so it just is what it is. Unless you have any questions, we can move on to the road department.
Nope.
So we'll skip that first one. The road on Jackrabbit and Cane Springs is done. We was going to do a realignment there. The study came back and they found some archaeological stuff. So we just fixed the road that was there. I think we put in some culverts, raised it up, and put some real boning material under, so it should hold up fine. We're still working on the realignment with Gold Springs. We've got the cultural done on it, and it passed. We've just got to come up with where it really is going to be and work with some landowners. But that'd be a good thing. That could happen. But we're still working on that. But so construction won't start for a while, but we're working with the landowners and figuring out what the cost in total will be. Our snowmobile parking lot turn in and turn outs on Highway 14. We hired Mel Clark to help us out with that. And we got the base in, and it's ready. And we'll just wait till next year. We'll have to do a little bit of grader work, and then they can pave it. So they'll pave the parking lot at the same time, I hope. We've been working with Mike Worthing on that, and Forest Service and Kane County. So it's kind of been a project with all of us. But we're finally getting some light at the end of the tunnel on it, I guess would be the answer. We're working on 7700 West. We've had good weather and we're making good progress on it. We had some issues with fencing and alignment. We had Rich out there last week, and he and Justin and I went through and got a correct alignment. The road didn't really follow the property lines. So we've just got to, we're probably over halfway hauling on the sub base with that. And then we'll have to type to it. Hopefully, well, not hopefully, we should get that chip this year if all the weather's right. Also on Pinto Road, there was a part of Pinto Road that went from Pages Ranch over to the county line. We took that over from the Forest Service. They was willing to help fund some of that. So they're hauling out there today. And then we can bill them for that. We get to bill, I think we took that over for 10 years. And Rich has been good to help us with that. He was going to bill them for 3/4 of, because we did some work on it before already. But they're hauling out there today while we take some fence down on 7700. We still need one employee at the road department, but we still got to train the guys that are coming there, so we probably won't even put that out till the first of the year. That's what Justin and I talked about. Our budget's on track. And then we're prepared to start moving snow. We've went and got our salt, got everything mixed, but thank goodness it hasn't for now, because we've been able to get a lot of work done.
Yeah, that's been nice. Then you was you going to do some work out along the railroad track in Burrell too?
Right now Enoch City has borrowed our bulldozer to they're doing a pit for some water retention. As soon as we get that back, then Walker's going to take it out to the Lund pit, and we'll start pushing there. So it'll probably start in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
We will be doing that also.
Yeah, I hope the weather holds out for us, so we
I
can
do too.
we're getting lots of good stuff done.
Yeah, we have been. We've lucked out. Any questions? Thank you.
That Gold Springs Road will really be helpful if we can get that moved. It's going to be quite a project to do it, but we put so much time into fixing every time it rains or snows, or it just goes down the middle of a big wash and just washes it all out. And then
the road's right in a riparian area.
Yeah.
We can reclaim that road, and it'll be better for everyone if we can get it up on the bench. Yeah. We just got to go through the landowner stuff and make sure that do all our easements and stuff.
Yeah.
But you're right, that'll be a
It'll
huge
save
win.
the county a lot.
Save us a
from
ton of
going
energy.
all the way out to, that's right on the border between Nevada and us, and so.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Commission reports. I'm not going first.
Why?
I don't know, because
So December 1st, we have a Zoom call monthly with the USACCC. It is done with the all of the different commissioners and councilmen throughout the state, and it's always enlightening and interesting. And they brought up a lot of the legislature that's going to come to us after the first of the year, and so. And of course, I brought up the jail tax increase that we're proposing, and asked for support from the UAC. That's Utah Association of Counties, and we're hoping that they'll help us push that over the line. And then it'll be a year from now that the residents will be able to vote on it. But it will be a consumption tax. We listen to the people. They ask us to do a consumption tax if it didn't pass for the bond the GO bond that we just did lose. And so we're going to push forward. It'll just take us another year. So, the costs continually go up, just like they have done, and that we're pushing forward with that. But if we can get that through the legislature, Representative Rex Ship is putting that forward, and it'll be really great because if we can get that passed, because a consumption tax, it doesn't go on food, so the poor, it's good that way. The poorer people probably don't spend as much money on anything in the county. Other people coming into the county, like for summer games or tourism or all that, they will help with that tax. So instead of the property owners funding that whole amount, it'll be everybody, and people that don't own property, and people coming into our county. So I think it's going to be a really good thing, and it's just a matter of getting it through the legislature. I also went. They hosted a dinner. The OHV Club, the Color Country OHV Club, for those that helped with our jamboree. We had a great jamboree, the four-wheeler, and it was 3 days, the end of September. It was very fun. We went, my husband and I went on it, and we're planning on doing that again next year. And they that OHV Club helped guide a lot of that and did a lot of the work for the county to be able to do that. So they had a little dinner, appreciation dinner, so that was nice. Of course, the other day we had a canvass, and I just wanted to thank John and all of his staff for doing a great job with our election. Got that all taken care of. We had a meeting on the 7th talking about the relocation of the Parowan irrigation ditch. I thought maybe Rich would visit us about that. But so we've got our previous engineer did what was that called? Agreement to be able to get the flood water down through Parowan. And of course, then we know what happened. We had the Brian Head fire, and so it made it a lot bigger issue. There's an irrigation line that comes down through there that is exposed now, and so we're working toward trying to help them get that taken care of, and in the next couple of years, we're hoping that we'll be able to do that. Mike and I was able to attend the SUU Gala. It was very nice, and to recognize a lot of the folks that are big donors for SUU. Joe and Beverly Burgess were a special honoree for them, and that was very nice. I think that's. I did have one more Zoom meeting that was interesting. Maria Twitchell and I from tourism are on a committee that it's called the ZRC Zion Regional Collaborative, and it's a lot right next to Zion, but they've included us in it, which is nice because we can do some spillover with the tourism and that type of thing, and it's nice that they included us. Emily Friedman was the coordinator before. We're getting a new coordinator. Emily moved back east, and it's Vanessa Rogan, and so we got to meet her on that Zoom call. So go ahead, your turn.
I'm just going to go really quickly. I had an opportunity to attend swearing in for Congresswoman Malloy back in D.C. on the 28th to represent the county and the area. It was good. attended a Department of Public Safety and Emergency Emergency Medical Services listening tour with George, our emergency manager. There's some new legislation that puts EMS, basically it makes the county responsible for EMS. The county doesn't run the EMS service now. We have Gold Cross. But there's some coordination that needs to take place there because of new legislation that puts us into having some responsibility there. So we're in the process of working through that and working out contracts, and we don't anticipate a change in the service, anything like that. The legislature just put some of that responsibility back onto the county. So we're working through that. Marilyn mentioned we had the canvass for the election, certified those results. I met with the Inland Port Authority just as an update on Commerce Crossroads and Port 15, some of the marketing efforts, things that are going on there. I sit on a national committee, the Justice and Public Safety Committee, with the National Association of Counties. We're working on some legislation to basically now, if you're in jail but not convicted, so if you're innocent until proven guilty but sitting in jail, you lose all your Medicaid benefits before being found guilty. Number one, that's a detriment to the incarcerated person. Number two, that puts all of that funding for any kind of a medical expense on the county. And is a big problem nationwide. Anyway, we're working on a resolution and working on some legislation to be able to see if we can get that law changed so the folks that are not proven guilty of a crime still are eligible for their Medicaid eligibility. Met with the Indigent Defense Trust Fund Board. Those numbers are looking good. We do. I don't know that Sam, do we have any cases? Do we have any pending homicide capital cases in Iron County?
None that come to mind.
Yeah, I think that we usually do, and this right now is the first time in a while that we haven't had some of those cases.
The Glover case from the city is one of the last remaining ones, and that's early next year. But Glover, I think, is the only one. So.
Yeah. Did an interview with Box 86 Productions to talk about mental health issues. That I think is going to turn out really good. I did talk with Congresswoman Malloy's office about those Iron Springs Road improvement grant issues that Rich talked about. I met with a nurse practitioner that's working on some legislation as far as some funding for some vape and e-cigarette legislation to help with some funding to target the youth in the schools, things like that, to just as some prevention programs for that. It's just a tiny bit after 10. We're going to take about a 10-minute break. There's just a couple of things that we need to take care of in between these portions of the meeting. So we'll come back right at 10 after and be in recess for just a few minutes.
Got to get the streaming come up.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, welcome back. We're back on the record. We've got the streaming back up and working. I'm gonna juke and jive around the agenda a little bit this morning. We're gonna skip right to item 3, which is I think why all of y'all are here this morning. So we're gonna move that up to accommodate you, and so we can move forward. Item number 3. Discussion about concerns regarding Iron County Ordinance 22-6, requested by Mari Eddy. So I'm going to turn the time over to Mari because her name's on it.
Yeah, I seen that. So thank you. I
You're
guess
welcome.
I'll just start us off. Thanks, John. Okay. So I'll make this brief because really I've had a lot of good conversations with most of you over the past week, but just since we're all here and so that it can be on the record, I'll just kind of share some of my sentiments. So my name is Mari Eddy. I am a realtor in Cedar City. And that's kind of how I stumbled across this ordinance as we started having phone calls of buyers who recently were trying to get a building permit. So, so I'm here to discuss the ordinance passed in September of 2023 concerning water rights and building permits. After meeting with Reed Erickson and considering the implications of this ordinance, several key points came to light. So what I gathered is the county's intention was to safeguard future buyers by eliminating a building permit if the property owners didn't have water older than 1934. However, there are crucial aspects that we need to address. The first one is I feel that the authority to eliminate water lies with the state jurisdiction and not the counties. There were some overnight implications. The ordinance instantaneously devalued properties and water rights overnight by putting this ordinance in place. It's caused a financial burden on property owners exceeding $20,000 who have to go and acquire older water rights to be able to build on their property. This will also in turn affect affordable housing. Water sustainability, the water remains viable for at least 15 more years, challenging the urgency of this ordinance. And this, just for some of you that don't know, is the water management plan. Like that's kind of what the county followed in making this ordinance, which essentially says the state could eliminate that water. And there is dates set, but there's also dates to eliminate 1934 water. Really, all the water is set to be eliminated, so that argument could be made. So the state permits water usage for agricultural purposes, but restricts residential usage. So that is a little bit of an inconsistency there, saying it's no good, but then that will still allow it. And then the state also allows you to still drill a well and use the water. So really, the holdup is the building permit. There's also an argument to be made that the water management plan is not guaranteed. It's rather speculative. Hopefully we will just find a solution to our water problem without taking water away. So the current property owners' rights to utilize their water should not be overshadowed by the concern for future buyers. The responsibility lies with prospective buyers to conduct thorough due diligence, especially regarding the water management plan, and furthermore sellers to disclose the material defects like a water management plan. I just also wanted to highlight, because it's been brought up in my meetings with Reed Erickson, that, the Board of Realtors did create a water due diligence form that we created to try to help inform buyers of water and where to go and to go to the division and about the water management plan. So we've tried to take measures to help and to safeguard future buyers that are buying properties that may have some of this older water. So essentially, I would like to strongly urge the County Commission to consider the broader implications of this ordinance on property owners. I firmly advocate for the immediate repeal of this ordinance. The county can subsequently focus on developing a disclosure form, but the priority should be lifting the burdens imposed on property owners by this restrictive measure. So, thank you.
Thank you.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Yep, we're good. So let me just address this really quickly. I didn't realize this came to light to me as a couple of months ago. It was another issue. It was another property owner that had an issue outside of. I mean, the same issue, but outside of this, and we kind of worked through that issue at that point. And I thought that it was kind of an isolated issue. Then it wasn't. We've spent quite a bit of time over the last couple of weeks after speaking with Mari, speaking with other realtors, and I think I can speak. I'm gonna speak for the commission. We realize that we've got to fix this. This isn't a hill that we're going to die on. Is that fair? I don't know if that's but not realizing some of the far-reaching implications. This is something that obviously we need to fix. With the amount of time of changing an ordinance, getting it on the agenda for an action item, we didn't feel like we could do that. That there's some more information out there that we wanted to gather, and we've done that a little bit. So today's item is a discussion. It's not on for an action item, but I'll tell you and I will, going into the new year, I'll be the commission chair moving into 2024. I would anticipate our very first commission meeting in 2024 in January to have this item on as an action item and to rectify it. I would like to, moving forward, I do still have some questions with the state engineer's office, the water engineer, things like that I want to clarify. But I would like to move forward between now and between our meeting in January. I'd like to meet with some folks and figure out just exactly what we do to make sure that everybody's rights are protected, especially the property owner, the water owner. That's it in a nutshell. Moving forward, like I said, there's not a public hearing scheduled or anything like that, but we would be more than happy to hear comments. With the volume of folks, we're going to limit comments to about 2 minutes. If somebody has made a similar comment, we ask that you don't repeat comments. Ask that civil in nature, any concerns should be addressed to the county commission. But we're more than happy to hear comments. Just know that this isn't something that you're going to have to work very hard to sway us. This is something that we realize needs to be fixed, and we're on it.
But we just need to understand and see what kind of fix that we can do, and that's where we're asking you. What's your ideas to fix this? So I'm so glad that Butch is in the audience, Butch Kramer, because he has a home that he was not aware that he's going to lose his water rights. His are 60 water rights. What are they? 62? 2. You've already lost them. So that's the type of person that we want to help, so that they know the water paperwork that Mari was talking about, that is not. They ask you to do it, right? You may use this, which would be really good, but how many choose not to? I don't know. So I feel like that it's something that we need to make the buyer beware, so that they know that they are getting those water rights that may be taken away soon. So that would be my take on it. That let's have some comments to see how we could fix this.
Yeah, so I'll open the floor. Yeah, and when you address, come up, state your name for the record, speak into the mic so that the folks in YouTube land can hear and understand you, and we get it on the record.
I'm here to address us. These people back.
Oh, tell us your name, please.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Wayne LeBaron. These people back here are a reflection of us. Water is an issue here. There's enough water in the oceans to bury all land on Earth by about 2 miles deep. The Snake River and the Columbia River dump clean fresh water into the ocean. I don't know what the number is, but it's huge. Those rivers can be diverted into the western Utah, Nevada area and turn the Utah and Nevada into the San Joaquin Valley. They drilled wells in Texas and in Russia, almost 50,000 feet down, 10 miles. You know what they found? Rivers of water all the way down. Okay? And there's all kinds of ways we can do things to make beneficial use of our water. But all these things have hurdles to overcome in acquisition of them to put them to beneficial use. Those hurdles are best achieved when we connect and work together and honor what's right. That is the vehicle to solve our problems. We as a people come together and we commission the state to serve us, to protect our rights. The state organizes the division of water rights. It fails to protect the rights that people hold. It becomes monopolized. And so the people have to recover their right to water, a God-given right, a common right we all hold equally to that which is of nature. And we have to recover that right to buy a right as a form of slavery because the state didn't protect it to begin with. It's a derelict of duty on the state to not protect our individual rights to our personal needs of water. The state has no authority we don't hold to give it. And then on top of it, after someone pays money to recover a right the state didn't protect, then the county's talking about decommissioning that right, adding insult to injury, so then we have to go to further forms of slavery to recover a right the state didn't protect. That is simply wrong. It's never too late to do that which is right. The individual right to their share of resources, of air, space, land, water, is a common right we all hold equally to our share of that which is in our environment, subject to one thing, honoring the same for the other. As God decreed, all this belongs to the righteous.
Okay, that's time.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Tammy Vogt, and I'm also a Realtor here representing the Board of Realtors, but I'm also here specifically to represent my clients. I agree with everything that Mari has already said, and so I thought what would be helpful for you to understand is to present specific clients' situations so that it is a real problem that you can actually see. I have clients, a young couple. They purchased 20 acres out west, and they purchased some water rights just before COVID. It's their dream to homestead and build their own home. Then COVID hit and everything fell apart, and the cost to put a well in was too high. So they have not done anything with their land yet. They're saving up money and they're getting ready to do that. And now they can't get a building permit. I have a builder, one of my clients here, who owns a lot and has a plan to connect to a well on a lot next door. He purchased that lot and he purchased the water right for it. It's 1935 water right. and he can't get a building permit to build an affordable home that this county really needs. There's another client who has purchased a land that has a well on it already and water rights, and he can't get a building permit to build a home on his own land that has a well and has water rights. So these are very real situations that we're dealing with right now. And a lot of the water that I have sold recently is for a seller who owns 1935 water rights that are in good standing. We've sold a lot of them. A percentage of those water rights were accepted by the county conservancy, 1935 water, to connect to the conservancy. So I think it's a little bit kind of hypocritical for the county conservancy and the county to be at odds with each other over this. It's acceptable to the conservancy, but it's not acceptable for building permits on the county side of things. Most of the county water and land, I think, is going to be on private wells. I think connecting to the conservancy is more the exception, but it does affect developers.
Okay, that's your time.
It's going to raise the price of affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Patrick Larson. I live in Paraguna. I'm the one who just recently bought the land with the well, and so I did my due diligence, as it said in the contract. I am responsible. I thought the realtor was going to do it for me. Realtor said, no, that's your responsibility. So I went down to the Planning and Zoning Commission, said, here's what I've got. How many houses can I build? Here's the right. They said, great, everything looks good. Yes, you can. You can build 2 houses on this lot. If you get some more water, you can build 3 or 4. So great. Went down to the water division, made sure that everything that the county told me was okay at the zoning and commission, the zoning department. Sit there and the guy, yes me. However, you need to buy another right in order to do it because you need 0.45 per house. And he explained to me a lot of stuff I didn't know. I hired Technologies. They came out, put in a new pump for me and new pipe. And I was ready to go. Went down last Monday, and they said, nope, sorry, you can't have a permit. You don't have the right water rights. I said, wait a minute, I was in here 2 months ago. You guys told me everything was okay. Oh, well, we just started enforcing this. So I did my due diligence. I did everything I need to do. I believe there should be some type of grandfather clause for existing wells. That well's been out there for 15 years. All we did was put in a new pump. We bought the rights. I sunk my life savings into this with a plan. So if it goes bye-bye, I mean, I wasn't planning on growing tomatoes or putting in alfalfa over there, that's for sure. It was something that I was doing to build a house for myself and build some type of retirement plan for myself. So it's everything that I have, and now I'm told that it's no good. So I would like you guys to do what we have hired you to do, and that is fight against those things that go against our rights. A water right is a right.
Okay, that's
We
time.
purchased it, and it is a right, and it needs to be protected. So please fight for us.
Thank you, sir.
My name's Butch Kramer. I have property out west of Quichapa. When we bought here in 2005 or 2004, we bought 3 properties. 2 of them had 2 acre, or all 3 of them had 2 acre lots. We found out when we sold our property that it had been taken away. It's amazing. The state can find out where I vote, but they can't find out where to send the requirements for water rights. Second thing that all you guys seem to be forgetting, I'm an environmental scientist. I did geology. I did a bunch of things. I've had meetings Marilyn's been to and talked to people about geology out here. If you don't know what's going on, from Paraguna down, all the way down to the New Harmony, past New Harmony, we're in an alluvial floodplain. The water there does not recharge. I don't care what you guys try to do unless you want to inject in a ongoing aquifer. The second thing that you don't realize is that is not going to be recharged. So all the efforts we're trying is a waste of time. The third thing that we've got to realize, all this water under the ground is not new or old, it's water. So they can put a date on it, it doesn't mean a darn thing except that we're losing out on the use of it. The other thing that needs to be realized, there is water around here. It's you take away from the alluvial plain, get up into the granite, that gets recharged every single time we get water, snow, whatever. And it's usable. The trouble is it's got to be brought down. For you people that want to buy out in like where I did, we're never going to get water back, and they're certainly not going to be pumping water out to us. All these projects that we've got.
That's time.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to point out too, a lot of folks are good to reach out, and the commissioners are great to take phone calls. And I'm sorry to throw you guys under the bus, but their cell numbers are right on the website, ironcounty.net. And if you want more than 2 minutes to make your point, I think that's valid, and I know that.
Absolutely.
Discussions.
And really, and what I'd like to do, and I'm not going to throw Mari under the bus. I'm not going to. I don't think it's a bus. But I'm gonna reach out to Mari next week and see. I'd like to get together a meeting, not a public meeting, not in this forum, but if there's a handful or a number of folks, you folks that would like to be involved in that, really look at this close so that we can make the changes in January. I'd like to do that. I think that those things are always really constructive when we can just sit down around the table, when we've got time to talk and hear each other and work it out. Is that all right, Mari? Would you be willing to kind of coordinate that? Is there? Yes, Patrick. Yes, sir.
Would you come?
Can you come up to the mic just so it's on the?
Took my time, so I don't.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine.
I was just going to ask, what does it take to just repeal it and then just go back to the drawing board?
That's a great question.
So that we can get it on the table, we can get back to building, we can get back to kind of normal, and then put this, like you said, it takes time to put together the proper legislation, but I can't believe it takes that much time to repeal it and go, okay, let's table this, let's get rid of it, and let's start all over.
In the run-up to this meeting, we had a lot of discussions along those lines, and Commissioner Wood reached out to our council, Sam Woodall, about that very question. I don't know, Sam, if you could.
It's going to we're going to have to put something together, and we just didn't have time. So we will by January.
That is not going to be a long process.
Yeah.
Come on up. Oh no! Hey, you can shout out from the peanut gallery, but in here it has to be on the record.
Come on up.
It has to be. Yeah, it has to be on the record.
Come up and tell us your name.
Lisa Bullock, everyone.
It's Lisa Bullock.
My concern is, what about those that have existing water rights that are not subdividing, that are not selling? What about the farmers and the ranchers that have had them before? How are their rights protected? Are their rights being protected?
By the state. The state actually owns all the rights, so we just be able to use them. So whatever the state does, so we need to stay active to make sure during the legislation. They'll probably do some things they always do about a lot of water, and we do need to protect our farmers and ranchers.
Up to date on that, right?
Well, you need to keep yourself up to date.
Because a lot of stuff.
We'll
it's not like
about it.
It's not like they reach out to us and tell us. It's not like they notify us of what's going on.
We talk about some of the things that concern us, but there's a lot that goes on in the legislature, and people ought to get involved. Yeah. Absolutely.
So we are one layer of government, and we are not omnipotent.
Yeah. Yes. If you find something.
Absolutely, and that if those of you didn't hear that comment, it's your job to tell us because we represent you, and we during the legislative session and stuff, we try and keep on top of a lot of things, and we work closely with the Utah Association of Counties and other groups who that's their job is to monitor these things and then kind of bring them to
They have a
county
bunch of
issues to
attorneys
our
that-
attention.
that take care of all of that. And
But if there's legislation out there that you guys are concerned about, and they've got a great website, you can track bills, you can do all these different things. If there are issues out there that you guys see, whether it's water or whatever that issue is, part of our job is to represent you to our legislators, and we're more than happy to take up issues, whatever that is, and bring that to the attention of our legislators. We've got two legislators here. We've got Rex Shipp, who's in the House. We've got Evan Vickers, who's in the Senate, and they're very responsive.
Carl Albrecht.
And Carl Albrecht
is Enoch and Peril.
Yes, but you can always reach out to those guys. But we're an easy clearinghouse, and I say that.
Phone numbers are on the website.
I say that, but we're easy to find, and we do work really closely during the legislature.
Answer our phone. We do.
We're really busy with those guys, so please bring issues to our attention that we can, both locally and nationally. We work really close with both, our state legislators, but we work really close with our national legislators as well. So
I'll say too, the governor is going to have a lot of land use stuff coming at us, big and hard. So as realtors, you guys need to get involved because that is one of his number one priorities. Governor Cox's number one priorities is land use and water. So
anyway,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Brett Taylor, not here with I am a realtor, but I'm not here speaking on behalf of the Iron County Board of Realtors. But I do appreciate that, and I do think that I do appreciate what you were saying about trying to be the voice of the people to the state government on this issue. On this issue, as you well know, this was a gross oversight, a very, very gross oversight, and an issue where you should do nothing. You need to repeal it and do nothing. It's not your place there. There should maybe be some sort of disclosure, maybe in the building permit process saying, hey, just so you're aware, get educated.
That's it. Yeah.
But other than that, there should be nothing. County has no business dealing with that. That said, what Mr. LeBaron said or was trying to imply is something that I wish that as the commission and as our attorneys, the county attorney, that we would lead out with the region on these water issues and start forcing the issue with the state on drilling deeper for primary water. And that is something that is a very complicated issue, but the technology and ability is quite certainly there. And that's been well proven. And we need to fight for the ability to use and access that water. And I would plea for that, for us to be able to use the primary water. I do believe that municipalities locally and on the state level have politically used water as a tool of control. And it's time for us to drill deeper. So that's my plea to you.
I appreciate that. That's interesting because I know and I hadn't ever really thought of that as far as culinary water, drinking water, because in Beaver County right now, they're doing a whole bunch of geothermal drilling, but they're drilling like 10,000 feet down and like 2 miles over. And
but then they have to re-inject it.
And then I know that technology's out there.
Yeah,
it is, but there is the ability. I appreciate you bringing that up. I'm gonna stick that in
the state is really, really hard to get through that. So Washington County Conservancy District filed on a lot of deep water rights down in down south of us, and they denied them all. So
so that's something. We need to keep that conversation going with the state engineer's office.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's hard. When you fight the state because they have all the power, it's very difficult. It really
Thank
is.
you though. No, I appreciate that.
I appreciate that.
And I think these guys are sometimes a little modest when it comes to fighting those kinds of battles. A lot of stuff happens behind the scenes. and there is a lot of effectiveness there and political sway that they bear.
Where are we at on bringing the water from Wawa Valley?
That's a
Ooh, that's $1 million question.
we're honestly we're kind of deadlocked at that right now. But with that being said, I can tell you that there's a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff going on, and there's some stuff that I feel I feel pretty what's the word I'm looking for? I feel
Optimistic.
I feel optimistic. I feel optimistic that we're going to start moving forward with that. Optimistic.
Optimistic.
Let's start with optimistic. We're going to start with optimistic, but I'll tell you this. I mean, that's a conversation. We've got a group together, and I'll just say this right now. Politically, it's a mess between the state, between Iron County, between the Iron County Water Conservancy District, between Beaver County. But I'll tell you, within the last 3 months, we've done some great things in breaking down those barriers and rebuilding some of those relationships. So I'm not confident, but I'm optimistic that we're going to see some movement there. We're actively working on that. And that solves our problem, honestly. No, please come up. I'll get off my soapbox. But I mean, honestly, if we can get that water from the Pine Valley and Wawa Valley areas, that on paper, which is what the state water, that's what they look at, is on paper, water rights, shares, everything else. That solves our problem. So that's an option that we're working really hard on. Sorry, please.
What's your name?
My name is Jenny Vossler. I am a citizen of Iron County. I am a realtor. I do not speak for the Iron County Board of Realtors, but that is why I'm here. And so a couple of things. First, thank you. Thank you for hearing the people. And I want to speak specifically to this issue at hand. Thank you for talking about the bigger picture, because obviously that's huge. But specifically to this, you've in this meeting publicly called on realtors, real estate professionals to assist with this and to stand up. But there are a lot of people in this room and in our county who are not represented or assisted by a realtor or a licensed real estate agent. And so we do have forms that are available that we can help, but the general public may not have access to that. And as you talk about a group, you've called Mari Eddy to be a head or a help in that. How do the citizens that are in this room and who want their voice to be heard, how do they get the information for that meeting to make sure that all are available to speak at that time?
Yes, and that's a great question. I don't know, but that's something that I've considered and I'm going to figure out.
You could reach out to us and we could give you Mari's contact.
But also we can, exactly. I mean, it's kind of the realtors that brought this. Let's
just start a paper with people's information when they
Yeah. Well, and I was going to suggest on the sign in, is there, we don't collect emails.
Did everybody
on the
sign
do
in,
we?
by the way? We need everybody to sign in before you
If we can, because there's a sign in sheet. If we could have anybody that's interested in being involved moving forward, add your email by your name on the sign up sheet, on the log. That's a start. But I know that there's some specific customers, specific clientele. I've talked to Tammy a few times about this. I've talked to Mari. I've talked to some other realtors. So if there's some specific people out there that this is directly affecting, I want to reach out to those and find those people as well. I know that. Yeah,
because those people who have been denied, obviously, in this time frame need to be addressed.
Yes.
Make sure that your emails are readable.
And as far as that, your call
So we
to
can
come to
actually
this meeting with solutions, I think that it would be great to remind people in the notice of this to come with ideas and solutions, not just complaints, because that
Right.
is what we need is people's
Absolutely.
ideas. And then another point is also the wells that are being drilled in the south end of our county with the water going to Washington County. I know there's been, I don't know what influence you can have on that, but that is a big concern.
It is.
as well.
And it's a big concern.
State Water Rights Division, but as
And we have zero. We have zero influence. We've addressed that, and they
The
kind of get
state water
they kind of
engineer.
not to be crude, but they kind of give us the middle finger.
Yeah. Thank you again.
So
I did want to respond to the first thing that she said, and that was, on folks that maybe don't have representation. There have been some discussions about just trying to figure out what to put on the agenda item. Last week was kind of a lot of discussion to figure out what we could even do, what legally we could do. But the other thing immediately starts to go, well, what can be done, short of holding a building permit. And one thought has been to like require some kind of recorded, not a deed restriction, but just some kind of a notice of, hey, there's a well on this property whose water rights are junior or something like that.
And we were concerned going forward.
Someone who doesn't use
to
a
the
title
next
company or a
one
realtor
that would-
can at least, and will that capture everybody perfectly? Well, no. Many people aren't going to know to go look for some old document that was recorded umpteen years ago. But how can the county help ensure that next generation of homeowners? I mean, people want to talk about property rights, and absolutely that's true, but it's that second generation that is vulnerable in this situation if they don't realize they've got a junior water right, and all of a sudden,
Correct.
It gets pulled.
Yeah, I personally live in a world of disclosure, and I do not know what is within the legal rights of the county to provide disclosures within the building department. But I think if that is legal and can be done, any form of disclosure.
Right, and that's where
Roll back to
and so that was
Water
one
Rights
of the discussion
Division.
points from last week. So I appreciate the sentiment behind it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hi, just for the record, Stephanie Hill, interested citizen. I think it's really important that this group understand the kind of pressures that our elected officials are being subject to. I followed since the 80s Las Vegas Valley, Southern Nevada Water Authority, trying to take water from the Snake Valley over in the Great Basin. Just frankly, farmers and ranchers. And the bottom line is they were able to do it. Initially, that was grassroots, and it is no longer grassroots. They have hired and acquired incredibly sophisticated people. So when I reference this, I just got a letter from the Great Basin Water Network. And again, these are the people that for about 50 years have successfully kept Southern Nevada Water Authority, Las Vegas, out of their water successfully in court. Initially, it was grassroots. It no longer is grassroots. I just received this letter from, because I used to give money to them. They were a great gig. They were really a great gig. They're not a great gig anymore. It's been about 2 years ago in Iron County today that conservatives for water rights or something like that put an ad in the paper, sort of hoping to galvanize and incite our frustration. When I got to the bottom of that, it was done in coordination with Utah Rivers. Go to utahRivers.org and take a look at their board of directors. None of them is from Utah. Couple. Most of them are from back east. They've got big degrees and they're aligned with Washington, D.C. This is a power play on a level much higher than the state. And we need to support our local authorities. Here's the letter that I just got last week from Great Basin Water Network. And they're talking about us, kids. They're talking about our Wawa. Here's what they say in one of the paragraphs. Water managers in Cedar City, that would be these people among others, believe they can offset local overpumping with imported desert groundwater. Of course, the project would neglect senior rights holders, so they're going to pit us against one another.
Okay, that's
you understand?
I'm gonna.
Anyway.
Go ahead, Stephanie. You can.
Let me just finish
give you
this.
A little extra time.
Let me just finish this. Neglect senior rights holders. So now they're pitting us against one another, and the future of groundwater flow in the West Desert, all without solving the local problems of overuse in Cedar City. The only thing that I want to point out to all of us is that we're going to have to come together in common interest and understand that even if there are dark players in the state, and there certainly are, those people are being puppeted by national interests. Again, UtahRivers.org. Go to their board of directors. Take a look at who these people are. They're the ones who are controlling the Great Basin Water Network, and they're the ones that are pitting us against one another in their ploy for power. Just be mindful. These are not our enemies. We are the ones that need to stay informed to tell them. They got day jobs. They're making dinner. They're cleaning their house. We need to be the ones investigating to advise them and let them know what we need them to do. Anyway, I just thank you very much.
There are environmental groups that are involved in this water issue coming from the West Desert.
Absolutely. Listen, as a downwinder, the West, especially the rural southern and southern Utah, southern Nevada, we've always been a pawn to big money people in the East. And we need to come together on this, and we need to find those solutions. At any rate, I would really advise you to take a look at UtahRivers.org, and then to take a solid look at Great Basin Water Network, because these people would play us. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up.
Wade.
Thomas Crockett is my name. I have bought water, and it was dated 37, and then come find out that when I tried to get a permit, I couldn't get a permit. Anyway, so it seems like to me some of the solution to this is if the farmers sell you the water that they already own, you should be able to use that water. To me, that's just simple. I'm not a politician or anything like that. So anyway, and then the other thing is that if they're going to implement where it's 34 and older, maybe put a date a year or 2 years down the road that this is going to happen, and let everybody know so everybody has time to be able to do this.
Yeah, that's a frustrating thing because they've it's a moving target with the state engineer's office. It's not like, I mean, they have said, okay, here's a cutoff date, we can start taking water, but I don't know if it rains a lot, maybe we won't, or if we get water from the south, or we get a good snowpack. It's a moving target even with the state. So
right,
yeah,
I get it. Well, I got 3 animals that drink more water than we use all year in our house.
Right.
So, I mean, the farmers, they're using a lot of water and stuff like that. But then when they sell you the water, you should be able to use it. That's just my...
I don't know that that's true, because an animal won't drink as much as you flush the toilet.
I have 3 horses that can tell you otherwise.
I got 300 head of cattle, so
Thank
I
you.
know too.
Anybody else?
Anybody else?
Kobe.
Thanks for having us all here today.
Can you tell us your name?
Kobe Zobel. I'm a citizen. I'm also a realtor, and I'm the chairman with Enoch Water Committee. And it was brought to my attention, this issue, from Tom, who just got up. I helped him buy some land and some water this past spring. He wanted to use it and put his heart and soul into getting to this point and was told no. And so that's kind of how we learned about it, actually, the Iron County Board of Realtors. So thank you, Tom, for making us aware, because we weren't aware from anybody else, which is kind of frustrating. A couple of things. If this ordinance stands, junior water, in real estate, we always try to keep ahead of values. What's something worth? If this stands, the value of junior water is greatly depreciated, almost useless. Senior water is then inflated a great deal and perhaps not even affordable anymore. Cedar City's done that. They won't accept a lot of water. Conservancy won't. Enoch still will, but you have to pay the difference. So I would just raise some caution there. These values of junior and senior water, if this ordinance does stand. But it sounds like you guys are going to be
We're
very
gonna
good to
fix
work
it.
with, and we really appreciate that. So thank you.
Great. Kobe, are you available this afternoon?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give you a call. If I don't, would you call me?
Yeah.
Total. Has nothing to do with this. I'm glad I saw you because I was going to call you anyway. But that reminded me.
showed up.
Excellent.
So
Thank you.
I have another comment about these real estate folks that have come to us. It would be really nice if you could have a representative at the planning and zoning each week. It would be really a good thing because we've had realtors on the board before, on the commission before. Didn't work out this last one, but we would really appreciate if you would come, because that's the process. And you can come and talk about it then. If there's concerns that you have about different things, then before it is implemented, then we can discuss it and work through the details of that type of a thing. So that would be my suggestion to the realtor body, that the board of realtors, that we have, that you stay a little better involved.
Anyone else? All right. Well, I personally want to thank everybody for coming out today. There's so often in these meetings that that nobody's here or not very many people here. Like I said, we're here to try and we're here to serve you guys. Thank you so much for bringing these things to our attention, and it really does help. I mean, and so often when we get a room full of people get up and yell at us and call us names, and that's fine.
Done that, yep.
It's fine. But no, I just really appreciate the approach to this, and let's work together. And thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming. We always love for you to come.
Is all your meetings on YouTube?
Yes.
Yeah. You can see them all.
Iron County Commission Live.
Yes. All right. I'm going to move back to item number 1. Y'all are more than welcome to stay. I know you have nothing else better to do.
It's going to be riveting.
Hey.
Thank you, sir. All right, item number 1, public hearing regarding amendments to the 2023 budget. We're going to turn the time over to our auditor, Luke Little, to give us the scoop.
Okay, good morning. So every year towards the end of the year we have a budget adjustment. There's usually some things that come up, some things
We'd
that aren't
ask that everybody move out into the hall so we can conduct. For just a sec.
At recess or something. Just to let them file out.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second. Okay, so there are some things that aren't known when the budget is prepared, that are adjusted throughout the year. So we're just here to go over those and get those approved. So the top line item, that is our general fund number 10. That's the total amount of adjustments. There are a couple of these. Most of them are related to the IT department. So I'll kind of go over some of the bigger ones. So the first line item, or the second one down, that is our justice court department. So our judge salary was changed due to a state mandate there. So that salary was increased. That's what that line item is for. And then the second one is in our IT department. I don't know a whole lot of the IT terms on this, but Jared said that one of the clusters had gone out, and so we had to replace that. That came with a 5-year support, and he said that would save us $15,000 over the next 3 years. So we had a $35,000 adjustment there. Our communications line item within the IT department, we had switched over our phone plan to a Ring Central, and so there was some delay in that to where we were in that conversion that cost a little extra, and then also our phone plan had a little bit increases as well. So there was a $50,000 adjustment there for the year. The next line item, so the hardware development, the battery backup at the sheriff's office went out, so we had to replace that, and then also their fingerprint machine. Going down to the legal services line item. So regarding the properties that are assessed by the state, they can appeal their value with the state, but then we have to go and defend that if, that goes into court, legal action is taken. So we are in a big lawsuit or case there that has taken up a lot of funds. We have an attorney who works with a lot of the counties throughout the state, and he defends, all the state assessed values with many counties. So we had a $83,000 increase for that line item. Next, and John could speak a little more to this one with our election equipment. They bought a lot of supplies for future elections, and then they also needed some equipment. So there's a $55,000 increase on there. Going down, another big adjustment was for grants. So throughout the year, there are many grants that are applied for and accepted. And as those come up, we adjust the budget for them. So there was a $50,000 adjustment there. And most of those are refunded. There is usually a county portion that we contribute, and then we either get the refund. It'll be this year or in future years when that grant is finished. Okay, so going now to our Municipal Services Fund, Fund 11. The biggest thing here was the emergency heating AC unit replacement at the Burrell Community Center. I know they said when they went to check it, it was blowing some flames in the attic, and they were surprised it hadn't burned down yet. So we hurried and got that fixed. So that was about $27,000. Let's go down to fund number 19. So this is our fund where we buy property for quarter preservation, the quarter preservation fund. So Rich is talking to a couple different property owners about buying some property for that. And so we had adjusted that budget up $150,000. We're not sure if those purchases will be made before the end of the year or not, but I just wanted to include that in case they were made. If not, they'll be next year. In Fund 23, this is our library fund. So some of the property taxes that we collect is for the libraries in the county. And once we collect that money and we calculate it to see how much we're going to pay to like the Cedar City or Parowan Library, so those amounts were adjusted a little bit because they were unknown when we first did our budget. Let's go to Fund 45, the next line item down. This is our fund that we have the money saved up for the jail in. And since that bond has not passed on the ballot, what the commission has decided to do is stop the architect and the contractor from doing any further work until either funds are secured or until they decide to have them start working again. So we have a $1,050,000 adjustment for this line item, which will pay the architect and the contractor up to where they are right now at the stopping point that we're at. And the majority of that is for the architect. The plans are basically complete. So they have those, and then when the time comes in the future, they can just start at that point, and they'll have the plans to start up again. there's a lot of adjustments here in Fund 61, which is the Iron County Community Development and Renewal Agency Fund. So what this is the solar projects, solar farms that we have in Iron County, they pay their taxes, and we don't know how much those are going to be until their values are known, which is around May this year. So when the budget was set at the end of 2022, it's always kind of a guess, just putting in what their taxes are going to be. So once their values are determined and then they pay their property taxes, these are all of the adjustments to adjust for all of those solar farms. And they pay the taxes to our treasurer's office. They collect them. They withhold the part that is set aside as the incentive payment. It is then paid to my office, which goes into the county funds. We hold it until those solar farms apply for that refund for part of their property taxes, and then they'll get those next year. So that's what all of those adjustments are down until, if you go to the next page, John, there's a few more there. The last two items, that is our fleet department, and I've worked with Wade on setting up these two new line items. And we're trying to figure out what would be best, the best route to track this. So when there are accidents with county vehicles and there are insurance claims, in the past we would just have kind of that money go into a miscellaneous revenue line item, and then the department would pay for the repairs. To track it better, we set up these line items where the insurance money goes into this new revenue line item, so we can see all of the different insurance claim revenue that we've received, and then Wade will pay for all of the repairs out of this bottom line. And then if there is a difference for like the deductible or any other difference, we will bill each department for that to reimburse the fleet fund. So there were a few for this year, but next year we were gonna meet with the clerk's office, and because they do the applications for the insurance claims, and find out a good solution just to get that running well.
I know that's been a challenge, because it tends to blow up departments' budgets, and you got the two gentlemen right here that are affected the most by that, and so yeah, having a good solution moving forward would be good. I know that previously they just kind of had to eat it in their budget line item, which would almost guarantee an adjustment, especially for fleet and sheriff patrol. So
yeah, so we'll meet for the end of the year and figure that out. But any questions on any of these line items? The commission?
No.
Okay. We'll open up to.
All right. Chair, I'll declare public hearing open regarding the amendments to the 2023 budget as outlined by Luke Little. Seeing no comments, I will declare the public hearing closed. This is an action item, correct, John?
Yep. Oh, sorry. Yes, it is, but not
okay.
yet.
Oh, not yet.
Excellent.
Now
I was gonna.
they're in the
okay.
agenda.
I was looking at the verbiage. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll move on to item number 2. It's a public hearing, discussion, and possible approval of Iron County Ordinance 2023-6, providing for amendments to the Iron County Code, Administrative Appeals Procedures, Chapter 17.76, Appeals, and Section 17.08.040, the Appeals Hearing Officer. Recommendation from the Iron County Planning Commission, and turn the time over to Reed Erickson to tell us about this one.
Thank you, Commissioners. We had run into some conflicts with this ordinance, and I just wanted to explain what those are and the purpose for this recommended change. We had a recent appeal for a conditional use permit, and when we hadn't used one since we've had an appeals hearing officer, everything has gone relatively smoothly until this last one, where we became aware of a couple of other conflicts that we had in the ordinance. As you recall, we used to have a board of adjustments who would hear appeals of a decision from the Planning Commission. Since we've had an appeals hearing officer and those ordinances were changed, we recognized that it wasn't a complete change and there were other provisions in the code that were still in conflict. So I just wanted to mention a couple of those conflicts that we're fixing in this ordinance. One is in one section of the code it says that someone has 10 days to appeal an administrative decision of the Planning Commission. Another section of the code it says they have 30 days. So we're changing that. In one section, it says that it's a public hearing to be held by the appeals hearing officer, and the other section says it's a review of the record, which most appeals are what they call quasi-judicial in terms of the land use standard. And so we don't have an administrative or a legislative decision. They're quasi-judicial, which means that they're not legislative, therefore we don't have a public hearing. We don't take new input. We review the record to determine whether the action was appropriate to that it wasn't capricious or arbitrary, that it met the standards of the ordinance. And so we wanted to change some language there and take out the public hearing requirement. And with that public hearing requirement, of course, was the notification that went along with that, which was interesting because it required a notification of 300 feet, and the conditional use permit process for the approval of or consideration of the application only requires adjacent property owner notifications. But since we're taking the public hearing out, then we don't need the notification for 300 feet. This recent case had some question about whether or not the appeals hearing officer could hear new evidence or whether he was just reviewing the record and what was considered new evidence, whether it was an interpretation of the code, and so we're clarifying that, or whether it was actually something that they hadn't thought of before. Substantial evidence on the record or a negotiated condition is something that we ran into in terms of when the attorney was reviewing the appeal, trying to determine whether or not something met the standard, which was a standard in the ordinance for what's called substantial evidence on the record, which means that it complies with the ordinance, and any restriction or condition that's put in on a conditional use permit could only be if it was provided for in the ordinance. That means that it had substantial evidence on the record, and whether or not the commission in discussing with the applicant and the neighbors and trying to resolve a conflict could negotiate a response, or whether that response wouldn't qualify because it wasn't substantial evidence on the record. And so we wanted to clarify that in the ordinance. And then also, as we were pointed out by statute, our ordinance says that if they meet the conditions of the ordinance, the Planning Commission may grant the conditional use permit. And we're going to change that to shall grant the conditional use permit because it is an allowed use in the zone, and if it qualifies for the ordinance, then they shall be granted the conditional use permit. So those are the changes in the ordinance that are being proposed. We need a public hearing, and then we can answer any other additional questions unless you have other questions now.
Great. I'll declare the public hearing on item number 2 open. Welcome any comments. Seeing none, declare the public hearing closed and ask for motion.
When this was advertised, I did get a couple of calls on that, and people were concerned that we were eliminating the ability for somebody to comment on a project. And of course, that's not the case. This is only in the appeal itself, which is a review of the record, not a new review of the permit itself. And so they understood that, and they were fine. In the actual process of granting a conditional use permit or reviewing a conditional use permit application, public hearing is still required by ordinance, and we still do that all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
On the question of the commissioners being able to negotiate, what was the change? You made it so that they could or that they could not?
Yeah, we took out the language so that they could be negotiated, and that we took out the standard for substantial evidence on the record and just say that it could not be arbitrary or capricious. And therefore they could negotiate if something, they'll still review it, and they'll still have to be evidence that that's a reasonable standard. They just can't pick a number out of the air that it's based on something and will stay that, and that's why it would not be arbitrary or capricious.
But this comes to the Planning Commission for an appeal.
No,
it doesn't
goes
come
to
for
the appeals hearing officer.
The
appeals hearing officer,
Okay.
who is appointed in this last case, and since we've been doing these, it's always been Cedar City attorney.
Oh.
It was Paul Bittman, and now it's Randall McHugh, who has been doing those, and so they're appointed by the commission, and they're legally trained. Our ordinance requires that they have either legal training or experience in land use so that they can review these and understand the ramifications of the appeal process. So these appeals we're talking about are appeals of the decision that the Planning Commission makes. So if someone feels like they're aggrieved by a decision of the Planning Commission, then they would appeal that decision, and then it's heard by an appeals hearing officer.
Okay, and that person is appointed by the commission.
That's correct.
But that's
not the Planning Commission.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an attorney. It's been Cedar City's attorney in the past.
Can I also say that I talked with Reed about this, and these amendments are helpful. We didn't realize until, as Reed said, we got into the process that there were some weird inconsistencies, but this should really help streamline the process and make it easy.
Okay, very good. Okay.
All right.
Any other
Ready
questions?
for No, I think we're good.
Yeah, I'm ready for a motion.
Okay. I will move for approval of the Iron County Ordinance 2023-6, providing for amendments to the Iron County Code, Administrative Appeals Procedures, Chapter 17-.76, Appeals, and Section 17.08.040, Appeals Hearing Officer, recommendation from the Iron County Planning Commission.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Let's see, we've taken care of 1, 2, and 3. Let's move on to agenda item number 4 really quickly, public comment. This is for comment for anything that's not on the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on to number 5. Discussion and possible approval of the Oak Valley Estates subdivision final plat addressed at approximately 1200 South Old Highway 91 in Canara, Utah. It's approximately 160 acres, 7 lots, that is located within the legal description that's provided within the agenda. To read.
Thank you. This is something that in the future, this may be one of the last ones you ever see, because the Planning Commission is reviewing an ordinance, and by requirement of the legislature, the county commissions will no longer have the authority to approve final plats. Final plats under the statute, as effective February 1st, have to be approved by what's called
Through
administrative land use authority, which is not a legislative body. And what they're trying to do is, refine the process a little bit and speed it up so that it doesn't become in a political process when it's administrative in nature.
You have to wait to advertise it and go through back to the commission and
in fact, there won't be any advertising anymore for any of these, and so it's going to change the nature of this quite a bit. So enjoy this last one. This is the final plat application for the Oak Valley Subdivision Estates. It's located south of Canaraville between I-15 and the Old Highway 91. It's a property that's outlined in yellow there. And there are 2 portions of property to this, and this was simply showing the different zoning on the property, but it was all part of one subdivision. The blue was exempt out of that was 160 acre, and so it's just the portion that's in between there. Has good access off of Old Highway 91, and that's their main entrance is right down on the very south corner right here. This is a new road that will come up along this property and across and access these 7 lots. So the subdivider started with the process after a preliminary plat of putting all the improvements in. Since this was approved in March or April of this year, they had a year through which they could either bond for the improvements or provide a financial guarantee and then record the final plat, or they could put the improvements in. And that's been our ordinance. And they started with putting the improvements in and decided that they needed to sell some lots to help pay because they're actually drilling wells on each property. They're 20-acre parcels, and they've got 4 of the wells drilled. They have 3 more wells to drill. And so they want to sell a couple lots that they can get the road put in and pay for everything. And so they've done that. They've met all of the conditions for final plat. They've provided a financial guarantee, a cash bond that the county will hold until the improvements are in and then can be released. And so it meets all of the conditions of final plat. And I have that on there. We don't need a public hearing on this. So the final plat, I don't know if there are any questions about that, but I think we're good to go.
I don't have any questions.
I don't either. You ready for a motion?
Ready for a motion.
I'll move for approval of the Oak Valley Estate subdivision, final plat, addressed at approximately 1200 South, Old Highway 91, Canairville, Utah, approximately 160 acres, 7 lots.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is approved. Move on to number 6. Discussion and possible approval of the partial subdivision vacate and amend for Lot 1 and an unnumbered parcel, Block O, Meadow Lake Estate subdivision, combine into single Lot 1A for Michael and Michelle Vargas, approximately 0.83 acres, and the legal description is provided within the agenda. Read.
Thank you. The Vargases are here. If they have any questions about that, they have bought a property lot up in Meadow Lakes Estates and realized that the property adjacent to it was kind of a unknown area that had a channel running through it for drainage that feeds the lake, and it wasn't part of the subdivision. So this is what we call a vacate and amend, where we're vacating a portion of the subdivision, this lot, and adding to it with a portion of the unsubdivided piece into a new lot, so that the lot would be labeled Lot 1A going forward, because it's not what was the original lot of the subdivision. So this is an action of the county commission, a legislative action. Again, there's really, this is located, and most of you are familiar with, it's just right on the very top road against the Forest Service property of Meadow Lake Estates. And the plat has been amended to reflect this change, and I don't know that there are any questions. There's not a public hearing or anything.
Okay.
No questions.
I'd move for approval of the partial subdivision to vacate and amend for Lot 1 and an unnumbered parcel, Block O, Meadow Lake Estates subdivision, combined into single Lot 1A for Michael and Michelle Vargas, and approximately 0.83 acres, and the description there.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That is approved.
That was easy.
One more, and then we have all 3 of these to sign right here, and then we can go get it recorded.
Great. Number 7, discussion and possible approval of the partial subdivision vacate and amend for lots 11, 12, and 13, Block N, Meadow Lake Estate subdivision, combined into a single lot, 11A, for Larry and Estella Bovers, approximately 1.66 acres, within the legal description as provided in the agenda.
This is very similar to the last one in the same neighborhood, just down in the very southwest corner of the subdivision of the little leg that runs down in the bottom of it. I don't know if you recall, about 2 months ago, we did one. There was the lot adjacent to that going up on the other side, and combined these 2 lots right here and here into a single lot. And now they've got these 3 lots, another owner. The lots up there in that subdivision were so tiny, it's really hard to build anything and meet the setbacks and stuff. So that's why a lot of these are being done. This is probably about the 4th or 5th or 6th one that we've done in the last year. And so it's a regular occurrence. This is the new plat, and so it would be this lot, the 3 along the bottom, erasing those lot lines and combining them into a single new lot. Is there any questions? I haven't heard any concerns about it.
Nope. No. Okay. I would move for approval of the partial subdivision vacate and amend for lot 11, 12, and 13, Block N, Meadow Lakes Estate subdivision, combining into single lot 11A for Larry and Estelle Barva, and it is approximately 1.66 acres. The description down below.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great.
Can we get signatures?
Yep. All right. Agenda item number 8, discussion and possible approval of an award bid for a new cleaning contract for the County of Iron, for the Iron County Courthouse, Justice Court, Visitor Center offices, and Public Safety Building. Terry Palmer.
Well, it actually
Calm
has
down.
Thane's name first, but
Oh, it
Thane
does.
says
have
he's
Thane.
kind of scared to be in front of everybody.
Oh, Thane has to talk then, because we're really gonna make Thane talk. But come on up here.
No, he asked me if I wanted moral support.
Yeah.
He got in a fist fight with me last week, and guess who won? I did. So he watches what he says to me now.
See, say that in front of HR. She's like 3 feet away.
That's okay. She just laughs at me anyways. So no, we've been trying to get this proposal worked out. We started the process with an RFQ, a request for qualifications. We submitted that qualifications out to 5 companies that we had record for, and got an interview, met with 5 different companies. There was Reed, myself, Thane, and Chelsea that set in interviews with these 5 companies. We evaluated it. We come up with 3 companies that we thought met the qualifications and the requirements to submit for a proposal. So we put that out. We had a walkthrough scheduled. On the morning of the walkthrough, we had 1 company back out because of supervisors having leave, one the first half of the year, the other the second half of the year. They felt that they could not or did not feel comfortable taking on a contract at this point with the 5 buildings. So we proceeded through with a walkthrough. We took the walkthrough with 2 companies to the 5 buildings that we've talked about and answered questions, talked to them, and got their input and got the proposal back. The 2 companies that submitted proposals, one was $102,000, one was $114,000. which before we had not had bids submitted, proposals submitted for over 3 years before. We are up just over 30% on that contract with that previous company. The main reason we put this out for a bid for proposal was we are receiving lots of complaints. We felt the cleaning was not getting done and lots of issues behind that. So with that, we've got the two companies, one at $102,000, the $114,000. The bid proposal at $102,000 has some good qualifications, but we feel is not up to where we would like it for 5 commercial buildings. The lower bid did not have the experience that we felt after reviewing everything in the proposal to handle 5 commercial buildings. But not saying that that could not happen. In our proposal, we have an item in there that we could terminate contract with a notification of a certain 60 days or certain amount of time in there that we could terminate the contract with them, with both parties under the understanding. So with that, the company with $114,000 bid, that's strictly what they do, is a cleaning service company with mostly commercial buildings and experience in that. They have a program that they can track the cleaning, the daily stuff that goes on. The $102,000 contract that does not have that, are more into residential Airbnbs and that type of stuff. So that's the reason we've got the 2 bids. Our proposal is that we go with the $114,000 because we feel that they have more experience, more background in the commercial side of cleaning. I've talked with Sam. We had a couple other options. We talked to the 2 companies and could not come to an agreement between the 2 without some prices changing on what we had put out for a proposal. So at this time, we would propose that we stay with the bid from the $114,000 for a yearly contract. That is a year contract. Well, it's up to a 3-year contract at $114,000 a year for the 5 buildings. For the Justice Center, the Visitor Center, the Visitor Office Center, Public Safety, and the courthouse here. So that's where we're at on the proposal as to where we're at. And we knew that we would, with budgets, that not having it bid out before, that we would be going up considerable amount. We figured it's just over 10% a year for the 3 years that we have not, with the inflation of everything. So.
Did you get any recommendations for the company that you're? Did you talk to any of their other customers?
We have not done that yet.
Could you do that?
We can. We can contact them and visit with them and see how they're comfortable with what they're doing. We can do that.
I think it would be a good idea.
Okay, and that's fine. And we're willing to do that. I can have Thane. He can talk to them and give them a call and visit with them just to see, because I feel that that'd be okay with we do that, is talk to them. Like I said, and it's hard to compare the 2 to call the other ones because it's more residential on the other one. So I don't know if we do call them. We could see how it is, but I don't know if we would be comparing the same thing on that one.
Yeah, I would just say the customers to the
one that does the commercial.
The one with the commercial.
Okay. Yeah, I think that'd be good. It never hurts to check references and just make sure.
Okay. And then I don't know if Reed has any input on this. He was great to help us get the RFQ out, the proposal out, and set through the interview and stuff with that. We do need to decide quick what we want to do, because we feel we need to give the other company at least a 2-week notice that we're changing. We would like to have this in place January 1 if we can. Can
we do this? Can we go ahead and approve it pending on good references, or a positive reference check? And then if you have any concerns, we can go ahead and approve it. And then if there's any concerns, come back and we can revisit it.
Well, and didn't you say that they had a 60-day?
Well, if we issue a contract, we've got a 60-day, I think, in the RFP, and we would put it in the contract that both parties have to agree within 60 days of termination. Generally, most contracts we have that.
But I'm okay. It looks like Sam's shaking his head that we'd be good with that.
Would be all right with
We
that.
would. I would get with you, the commission individually, or have Thane let you know what we find out.
Yeah, that'd be
once
great.
we talk to them, because I think we have in their RFQ some of the companies they were working with on cleaning, so we can find that out and visit with them and see how they're doing.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be
What's the name of the
Quality Cleanse. There's three young men that work it, Jake, Will, and Mason. They operate it, and that's all they do, strictly cleaning business.
Okay.
Commercial. So very impressive when we visited with them, when we did the walkthrough, very impressed with them. So.
Okay. It'd be, ready for a motion.
Okay. I would move for approval of award bid for the new cleaning contract, the Iron County Courthouse, Justice Court, Visitor Center offices, and Public Safety building. And it's Quality Cleanse for $114,000 a year.
Will you just make that motion contingent on the
Contingent on the satisfactory references.
Okay.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we will have Thane get back with you in the next couple of days to let you know for sure where we're at, so we can let companies know what we're doing.
Okay.
Excellent.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next time you have to talk, Thane.
He'll talk to you individually. He's okay.
Yeah. Discussion and possible approval of the 2024 commission meeting schedule. John. I assume John's.
He's bringing it up. There it is.
Okay, so this is reflective of a few things. Oh heavens. Okay. First of all, the County Commission meets on the second and fourth Mondays of each month at 9 a.m. We've talked about that might be something you may want to change in the future. Right now, this is set for that. We generally don't stray from that unless there is a holiday. So if you look in May, there's going to be a change there because of Memorial Day. November 12th will be a Tuesday because of Veterans Day. And then there was some discussion, and I want to make sure, Luke, you're okay with what we've got here. The budget hearing is scheduled for November 25th of 2024. November 12th will be adopt the 2025 tentative budget, and then finally on December 9th, adopt the final budget for 2025. Is that all right? So, and a few years ago, we started including those just to give us kind of a timeline, but also yourselves and the public to kind of know what to expect when it comes to these important budget hearings, meetings, and decisions. So that is what we have for you. I don't know if commissioners, if there's anything that you would like to change with that.
There's none on my birthday, so you're good.
None on your birthday, okay. There's often one on mine, but not this year, so that's good.
Yeah.
You had one on my birthday this year, but I was in D.C. for my birthday, and
that's
so
You were out of here.
I was out of here. No, and I've had a question. I've had a couple of questions come up, and this comes up over the years of why Monday mornings. I think it's just important to know we have over the years we have visited the possibility of moving meetings to the evenings where they may be more attended. The problem is this: basically every evening that is in conflict with another elected board, whether that be city councils, whether that be the school district, whether that be the Water Conservancy board. There's just really no other time that we can meet on an evening schedule that isn't in conflict with another duly elected or appointed board. And so traditionally, this is where the meetings are. I think we've made good strides in being able to stream the meetings and make them more accessible to the public. So that's really the reason that this is when our meeting schedules are.
The other thing that is an issue is for the staff, so that they don't have to do overtime or, that type of thing. They come and report, and it's important that they're, not required to go, outside of those hours that they, regularly work. So, anyway, shall we have a motion?
I like it.
Yeah,
I guess.
Good. Okay. I would move for approval of the 2024 commission meeting schedule.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, item number 10, resolution 23-16, adopting the 2023 budget amendments as presented by Luke Little
So yeah,
earlier in the day.
That's
What
what
we
you just
presented earlier.
presented and
So we're
had a
just-
public hearing and
Had the public hearing. It's been
talked.
presented just to approve it now.
Okay.
Okay. I would move for approval of the resolution 2023-16, adoption of the 2023 budget amendments.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. As long as you're up there. Item number 11, resolution 2023-17, adopting the 2024 final budget.
So last commission meeting, we had the public hearing on the 2024 budget, and I presented it, did a presentation there, and we have not changed anything. So it was that budget that was presented last time. Nothing's changed, so now it's just time to approve it.
Okay, I'll
Right.
move for approval of resolution 2023-17, adopting the 2024 final budget.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That is approved. Item number 12, discussion and possible approval of the revised interlocal fire agreement for 2023.
Oh, here he comes.
We got George, we got Mike. I can talk to it. Sam can talk to it. We can have a group discussion.
So, if you want a long history of, I know that you're probably energized and want to go through a long discussion of the history of this interlocal agreement. That's why I brought Chief Phillips with me. He can give you an hour discussion on it. If you want the Reader's Digest version, this is a formalization of a agreement that we've already had, and Chief Phillips has been really good about including the partners. Canaryville, Enoch, and the county provide 41% of his operating budget, not his capital, his structures or anything. So thanks to his help, Commissioner Wood, I talked to Commissioner Blake, we've got a advisory committee now of the three partners. The city was willing to do that. They put that in the new interlocal agreement, so we're good. And I think that's, as I said, it's just really a formalization of an agreement that we've been operating on for a long time. But I think this is a good move. So
I agree. This is something that we've worked on together for a long time. So there's no surprises. I like I work with Chief Phillips a lot, and the term that he uses all the time is when working with our partners. It's never I've said this before. I've said this before in different meetings. I participated in a study a few years ago of communication abilities between fire departments, and I told them about how we work, and they're like, "Nah." I mean, they were like, nobody gets along. Like, nobody that we've talked to, and this is a nationwide study, said nobody that we've talked to actually gets along. And I'm like, oh no, we have fire chief meetings. We have we truly run this as a partnership. It's not us versus them. Everybody helps each other. Everybody shares equipment, provides help with grants. It truly is a partnership. And a lot of that is due to Chief Phillips' leadership, and I just really appreciate.
And I think unique, and I've been involved with a lot of departments across the country. And I think unique for that I've seen for Iron County, not only do the fire chiefs all work together, but the sheriff shows up at the at the fire chiefs meeting. So we've got law enforcement involvement in that too. So I think that's a really unique situation in Iron County that you don't get in a lot of the surrounding counties or anywhere else in the state. So
now, really, public safety wise and emergency management wise, I think we're better off than anyone else locally in the state. And when we have, we do meet with those other entities statewide, and it's very evident that we're truly blessed with the way that, with our relationships and the way that we conduct ourselves and get along. And it's just refreshing. There's no contention. It really is a partnership, and I appreciate that relationship.
So I would encourage the commission to vote aye on this.
Okay.
So I'll call for a motion.
Okay. I'd move for approval of the revised interlocal fire agreement for 2023.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Signed. All right, on item number 13, we're going to step out of our role as the Iron County Commission and convene as the Board of Equalization for review and approve late abatement applications and adjustments of low-income, elderly, veterans, and indigent applications presented by Tricia Lisser. And I butchered all of your name. It's like I was chewing on a rock. I apologize.
Thank you.
Tricia Lister. Thank you. It's not even that you have a hard name. I just can't.
It is kind of complicated.
All right, so on the first page with the yellow highlights, that's kind of an overview of what the adjustments are. The bottom chart is from previously, like in October, and then the top chart is for the most recent one, so that's the difference between the adjustments. And then the circuit breakers have gone up $14,946.29. The county portion went up $11,994.35. The market circuit breakers went up $10,935.45. And the veterans went up $9,509.42. And we have applied for a reimbursement from the state for the county, or for the state portion.
Good.
And then the second page, with the blue and the brown writing, on the back side there's the green for the veterans. Those are just the individual abatements that we applied or adjusted. Any questions?
Well, they've all gone up. That's probably because of our economy, right?
Yes.
And thank goodness those folks have that option to have those to help with them.
All right.
All right, we'll call for a motion.
I would move for approval of the late abatement applications and adjustments for low-income, elderly, veterans, and indigent application.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Is this is this one you need signed?
Sorry. Yes, that one.
Okay. Oh, there it is. I'm like, I didn't see the other one. Thank you.
Oh, I get to sign too?
Come
I
on
get to
down.
sign too.
Jen.
You want to Commissioner, you want to reconvene us?
Yeah. We're going to reconvene, step out of our role as the board.
Equalization?
I can't talk. We're going to step back into our role, reconvene as the Iron County Commission.
Thank you.
Turn the time over to Jennifer to talk about personnel.
Thank you. I only have two for today. Josh Nilsson has been a bailiff for quite some time, and he's been performing some services as far as interpretation for Spanish speaking for our courts. And I'm requesting to allow him to receive the bilingual pay effective December 10th, 2023. And then in Sheriff's Corrections, Stuart Vaughn was selected from a competitive recruiting and interview process to backfill the vacant Sheriff's Office Corrections Deputy 1 position, effective 12/26/2023.
Okay. Call for a motion.
Ready for a motion?
Yep.
Oh, you did say that.
I did.
You was too quiet.
Been ready.
I'll move for approval of agenda item number 14 as outlined by Jennifer Bradbury.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Non-delegated items. Do we have any board?
I don't think so
We'll,
at this point.
We'll go through a good thorough review on the first meeting. Also, Sam, might ask you to prepare our open meeting law training for that first meeting in January.
I'll do it.
Thank you. You always make
Let's
it
see
so
what
entertaining.
you can come up with this time.
I'm not sure I can top last.
I know that was
That's
a
a
good
tall
one.
order.
It was a very good one.
Okay, with nothing else on the agenda, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody, for your participation and coming, and thank you.